After her night with Dr. Kim, Kisses lay in bed, her mind drifting back to the time she had cried in Dr. Kim's presence. She slowly closed her eyes and fell into a deep sleep. When morning came, she got up and approached Dr. Kim's room, her thoughts filled with curiosity. As she reached the door, she wondered if he was still asleep. Growing impatient, she decided she couldn't wait any longer. She opened the door and entered. To her surprise, Dr. Kim looked like a completely different person. One eye opened as he noticed her presence, and his immediate reaction was one of shock. He yelled, his voice filled with surprise, accusing her of being a pervert. But Kisses wasn't fazed. She calmly informed him that the Grand General had asked her to show him around the civilian residential area. Dr. Kim responded with a simple "let's go" and stood up, ready to leave. The two of them walked through the residential area, the murmurs of the residents making Kisses feel a bit uneasy. As they walked, Kisses gathered her courage and asked, in a nervous voice, if Dr. Kim could at least put on some clothes. But Dr. Kim refused, responding firmly that this, to him, was true courage and the very essence of being a man. His shout echoed in the air, emphasizing his defiance of social norms. The reactions of the residents were immediate and loud. Some gasped in disbelief, while others covered a child's face, urging them not to look. Kisses, now flushed with embarrassment, quickly took hold of Dr. Kim's hand, leading him away from the scene. As they walked away, Dr. Kim snapped at the residents, calling them cowards. Kisses, still blushing, hurried Dr. Kim to a nearby restaurant. Once inside, she ordered a table for two and handed over a card to pay. The staff member nodded enthusiastically and soon returned with their food. The chef, with a broad smile, explained that he had put extra effort into their meal, recognizing their hard work for the people. Kisses thanked him, feeling touched by his kindness, and both she and Dr. Kim marveled at the meal before them. They started eating eagerly, savoring the taste. Kisses couldn't help but be lost in the flavors, thinking to herself about the burst of juice and flavor from the crab meat and the delicate, sweet flavor of the corn and cheese. Her thoughts were passionate, comparing the experience to a passionate woman swimming in a sea of taste. Out loud, she exclaimed that this was the kind of art and culture mankind had enjoyed during its heyday. Dr. Kim paused for a moment at her declaration. Kisses then shouted, "Bravo, señorita!" clearly enjoying the food. Dr. Kim remained silent, his face unreadable. Their eating continued until they both reached for the last crab leg. The tension in the air was thick, and Kisses was the first to make her case for why she should get it. She shared her hardships, describing how, as a child, she had survived on bugs and cockroaches, living through the harshest of conditions. She explained the brutal nature of eating live cockroaches, but for her, it had been necessary for survival. She then appealed to Dr. Kim's sense of justice, asking him to consider who truly deserved the last crab leg. Dr. Kim, unfazed, countered by discussing the importance of upholding social values and respect for one's elders. He emphasized that humanity's standards had been passed down through generations and that, as a man of responsibility, he had duties to fulfill for his descendants. He asked Kisses whether she believed he had fulfilled these duties and earned his respect. Kisses retorted, calling him a cheapskate, and Dr. Kim responded with a mock lament about the bleak future of mankind. Before the situation could escalate further, the chef returned, offering them another crab on the house. As they finished their meal and prepared to leave, Dr. Kim thanked the chef, and Kisses, ever polite, bowed and expressed her gratitude. The chef, with a warm smile, encouraged them to return anytime. As they walked away from the restaurant, Dr. Kim mused about how little cooking had changed since his time. Kisses responded, suggesting that unlike culture and art, food consumption was essential for survival, so it remained mostly unchanged. She jokingly added that the author probably didn't feel like creating futuristic foods and just reused the same old scenes. "That sucks," Dr. Kim said, shaking his head. Kisses then took Dr. Kim on a tour of the civilian residential area. She pointed out various important places, including the food production factory, where everything was made and distributed, and the integrated school where she had once studied. She also showed him the Department of Social Security, the Historical Archives, the Research Center for Rebuilding Humanity, the Institute of Defense Development, the Medical Center, the Civilian Administration Building, and the Gymnasium. Dr. Kim's eyes lit up when they reached the gymnasium. "Ah, at last, this place looks fun," he said. Kisses explained all the available sports, including table tennis, soccer, basketball, and even pro wrestling. Dr. Kim, intrigued, asked about the pro wrestling. Kisses, feeling playful, suggested they do some exercise together since it was her day off. Dr. Kim eagerly agreed, his face lighting up at the idea. Together, they made their way to the gym, ready for whatever came next. The scene shifts to the gymnasium, where Kisses and Dr. Kim are testing their skills in various sports. They start with tennis, and Dr. Kim hits the ball with such power that it flies past Kisses and crashes into the wall behind her. Kisses, a little taken aback, suggests that they should probably quit table tennis for now. Dr. Kim gives her a blank stare, offering no response. They move on to soccer, but Dr. Kim kicks the ball with such force that it bursts on impact. Kisses, somewhat exasperated, proposes that they stop playing soccer too. Once again, Dr. Kim remains silent, merely observing the deflated ball. They then try basketball, but as soon as Dr. Kim bounces the ball, it bursts as well. Kisses, feeling the weight of the situation, suggests they quit basketball as well. Next, they attempt weight training, but despite their best efforts, Dr. Kim doesn't feel any resistance, no matter how much weight he lifts. Kisses, noticing his lack of enthusiasm, proposes they give up on the weights too. In the next scene, Kisses, now dressed in a costume, faces Dr. Kim, who proudly shows off his bulging muscular arms. She looks him over and, with a raised eyebrow, suggests they give wrestling a pass too. The two continue with aerobics, but Dr. Kim, growing more frustrated, shouts out in exasperation, stating that he has become so strong that exercising is no longer fun for him. Kisses, not fazed by his outburst, calmly suggests they go swimming instead. Dr. Kim, still frustrated, admits he can't swim. Kisses, eager to help, offers to teach him how to swim, and Dr. Kim agrees, clearly open to trying something new. The scene shifts to the poolside, where Kisses is sitting by the edge, waiting for Dr. Kim. She turns around as he approaches and notices that he's wearing swimming trunks. She pauses for a moment, surprised by the sight, and observes that he is, indeed, wearing swimming trunks. Dr. Kim awkwardly explains that it's embarrassing to be naked in the pool alone. Kisses, though confused by his reasoning, simply agrees, shrugging it off. Dr. Kim, sensing an opportunity to explain himself further, looks at her and asks if she is upset by the fact that he wore such a plain swimsuit. Kisses reassures him that she has no issue with his choice, but Dr. Kim insists that it was, in fact, a rookie mistake on his part. Kisses, trying to smooth things over, assures him again that what he's wearing is perfectly fine. In a sudden burst of enthusiasm, Dr. Kim pulls the straps of his trunks over his shoulders with exaggerated flair, declaring that this is maximum charm. Kisses, caught off guard, instantly reacts by kicking him square in the face, stopping his antics. Kisses then proceeds to teach Dr. Kim how to swim, her voice firm as she instructs him to relax his body and stop thrashing in the water. Dr. Kim, still struggling with his movements, retorts that their relationship with the water was doomed from the start, as all land-dwelling animals, in his view, are fated to drown. Kisses, unshaken, tells him that she is going to let go of him. Dr. Kim, his face filled with panic, begs her not to, his tears welling up. Kisses, insistent, demands that he relax. Dr. Kim, despite his fear, argues that relaxing will make him sink. Kisses reassures him that it's too shallow for him to get hurt, urging him to trust her and relax. Internally, Kisses reflects on how, deep down, Dr. Kim is just a scaredy cat. Dr. Kim finally, albeit hesitantly, agrees to try relaxing. He slowly starts to calm down, closing his eyes as Kisses gently lets go of him. The moment she releases him, Dr. Kim begins to sink, his mind spiraling with panic, thinking that he's going to drown. But then, he feels something tap his forehead. Opening his eyes, he realizes that Kisses is floating right below him. His first thought is that he's somehow floating, but as he glances back down, he realizes that he is still sinking. At that moment, both he and Kisses descend to the bottom of the pool together, staring into each other's eyes. Dr. Kim finds himself oddly calm, considering the situation, and reflects that, in the end, this isn't so bad. Once out of the water, they lay beside each other. Dr. Kim exclaims that it was fun. Kisses, looking ragged and clearly worn out from all the excitement, lets out a frustrated sigh. She mutters to herself how, after all he learned, Dr. Kim got overly excited and pushed her to the limit, leaving her feeling completely drained. Just then, two boys approach Dr. Kim, calling out to him in unison. They ask if it's true that he can destroy all mosquitoes with just one punch. Dr. Kim, ever the showman, boasts that mosquitoes are no match for him. The boys, their excitement palpable, beg him to demonstrate his power. Kisses, sensing the impending chaos, feels her instincts tingle. Dr. Kim, never one to back down from a challenge, proceeds to demonstrate his strength with a single punch. The sheer force of his punch obliterates a nearby wall, sending debris flying. The boys are in awe, their jaws dropping at the display, while Kisses watches in shock at the destruction caused by Dr. Kim's antics. Later, Kisses finds herself apologizing to the people who were affected by Dr. Kim's display of power. She offers a sincere apology, albeit with a touch of embarrassment, for the unintended damage caused. As the evening sets in, Kisses and Dr. Kim sit together, the day winding down. Kisses remarks that the day is almost over, and Dr. Kim agrees that it was a fun experience. Kisses, with a wistful look, says that she wishes every day could be like this. Dr. Kim, with an equally sincere smile, concurs. Kisses, feeling a flush rise to her cheeks, asks Dr. Kim if he's ever had a girlfriend. Dr. Kim pauses, his expression thoughtful, before replying that he once had someone like that. Kisses freezes for a moment, processing his words. She says simply, "I see." Internally, she wonders how, on Earth, she has come to have feelings for this bald pervert. Changing the subject, Kisses asks if they should head off. Dr. Kim agrees, his smile softening, and they prepare to leave together. Ferrero sat at the meeting table, deep in thought. He had always suspected the existence of a command structure similar to those in insect colonies, but this was the first time he had encountered it in reality. He turned to Dr. Kim, hoping for information on the royal mosquitoes. Dr. Kim responded, stating that he knew nothing about them, as they had never appeared in his experiments. Ferrero deduced that this must be a new entity that had arisen naturally. If these mosquitoes had a command chain like bees or ants, capturing their queen could potentially end the war and bring humanity victory. First, Ferrero emphasized the need to gather more information. He instructed that if they encountered the royal mosquitoes again, they must capture them alive. Kisses acknowledged the order. Not long after, Dr. Kim returned holding a mosquito with a gray body, yellow eyes, and yellow teeth. He presented it to Ferrero, who was surprised by the speed of its capture. As Kisses observed the scene, she was struck by Dr. Kim's determination, impressed by his resolve. Ferrero stood before his soldiers, saluting them as they prepared to head out on their mission. Dr. Kim stared down at the trembling mosquito, watching it cry in fear. He leaned in close, meeting its gaze directly. With a sense of control, he flexed his biceps, introducing them as Mrs. Love and Mr. Passion. The mosquito, still shaking, hesitantly acknowledged the names. Dr. Kim's playful tone shifted into something darker, as he hinted that Mr. Passion was in a foul mood and might offer the mosquito a fiery, violent serenade. The mosquito, terrified, shrieked in response. Dr. Kim then reassured the mosquito that Mrs. Love would ensure no harm came to it, as long as it cooperated and answered their questions truthfully. However, he made it clear that any attempt to lie or refuse would result in suffering, demonstrating his point by flexing his bicep. The mosquito, now visibly petrified, trembled uncontrollably. Dr. Kim's first question was directed at the mosquito's chain of command, asking about the Great Mother it constantly spoke of and whether she was its queen. After a pause and another intimidating flex, the mosquito answered, revealing that all of them followed the will of their Great Mother. Dr. Kim pressed further, asking what the will of this Great Mother truly was. The mosquito replied, saying that her will was to create a peaceful world. The scene shifted to a group of soldiers aboard a plane, their excitement palpable as they discussed their mission. Among them, one soldier, a blonde-haired man, expressed his amazement at being on the same mission as Kisses, treating it as an incredible honor. Another soldier agreed, sharing the sentiment. Kisses, always composed, requested that they take good care of her, and a nearby soldier chuckled, dismissing the blonde soldier's exuberance. The blonde soldier, however, continued to rave about Kisses, praising her skills and status. He spoke of how she was an idol to them, a genius and the youngest member to ever join the elite team. His enthusiasm overflowed, and Kisses, internally, felt a mix of emotions at being placed on such a pedestal. The conversation continued, with the blonde soldier boasting about his daughter, much to the amusement of the others. The constant chatter of his proud fatherly stories filled the air, and Kisses, despite herself, smiled at the playful banter. However, a hint of sadness crossed her face as she remembered her past squad members. Suddenly, Kisses froze, a sharp sense of danger rising within her. She immediately shouted for the soldiers to put on their parachutes, her voice cutting through the chatter. Before anyone could react, a massive tree was hurled through the plane, tearing through its rear. The force of the impact sent the soldiers scrambling to hold onto the plane, but one by one, they were sucked out into the sky. Kisses caught sight of a parachute and reached for it, but as her hand grasped the strap, it tore away. With no time to react, the parachute fell from her reach, and Kisses was sucked out of the plane, falling into the void below. As Kisses plummeted from the plane, she took out the enhancement drug created from Dr. Kim's secretions. Her mind raced with memories of how Dr. Kim had survived after jumping from a plane without a parachute. She injected herself with the drug, hoping that its effects would grant her power similar to his. As the drug began to take effect, she braced herself, praying it would work. She crashed straight into a forest, the impact jarring her body. The scene shifted, revealing a group of soldiers standing amidst a myriad of mosquito corpses. The air was thick with the aftermath of their battle, the ground littered with the remnants of their foes. One soldier surveyed the field with satisfaction, and muttered that this should be enough. The air was filled with an odd sense of camaraderie as they prepared to have a little fun. One soldier suggested a bet, challenging the others to see who could kick a mosquito's head the furthest. The loser would buy dinner. They took their positions, with one soldier feeling pumped from their earlier kills, another revealing he had injected himself with 2 doses of the combat enhancement drugs. The soldiers positioned themselves, and with a unified count of ready, set, they struck down the mosquitoes before them. One soldier groaned after accidentally blowing up another mosquito. Another joked that his right foot was just for show. The atmosphere lightened, but their attention soon shifted when one of them heard a strange noise. They paused, realizing the aircraft carrying the B-17 had just crashed. The soldiers, knowing they were closest to the crash site, decided to investigate. As they made their way towards the crash, a strange figure approached them. A white mosquito holding another mosquito's head. It stared at them blankly. The scene shifted to Dr. Kim, who stood before one of the royal mosquitoes, ready to continue his interrogation. With a firm tone, he declared that it was time for the second question. His voice filled with curiosity as he sought to learn the whereabouts of the mosquito's great mother. The mosquito froze, its body stiffening as it processed the question. After a brief moment of hesitation, it stammered, uncertain how to respond. It struggled to find the right words, admitting that it wasn't sure how to answer. Dr. Kim, unyielding in his stance, flexed his bicep, a silent threat of his strength. The mosquito, even more rattled, stammered again, apologizing profusely. It swore that it honestly didn't know, repeating that it was telling the truth. Dr. Kim's eyes narrowed, irritation mounting as the mosquito repeated its claim of ignorance. The creature swore that it had no clue, its desperation growing with each failed attempt to satisfy Dr. Kim's inquiry. Finally, with patience exhausted, Dr. Kim's gaze darkened. Seeing no other option, he prepared to ask the mosquito's soul directly. The battlefield came into view once more, and the white mosquito stood in stark contrast to the others. Its appearance was noticeably different, and the soldiers observed it closely, murmuring in confusion. One soldier noted its distinct features, questioning whether this could be a royal mosquito. Another soldier remarked on its lack of aggression, wondering if they should engage. The third soldier, however, suggested capturing the creature alive, following the command to gather more information. After a brief moment of agreement, the soldiers prepared to subdue the mosquito. Meanwhile, back with Dr. Kim, he held the mosquito in his hand, scrutinizing it closely. He pondered whether it truly didn't know, but the mosquito, pleading for mercy, maintained that it was telling the truth. Dr. Kim, unrelenting, proceeded with his third question, demanding to know how many royal mosquitoes existed. The mosquito, clearly rattled, revealed that there were 5 in total, each inheriting a different emotion from their great mother. The strength of each royal mosquito varied, depending on the specific emotion they had inherited. Dr. Kim pressed further, asking about the mosquito's strength and whether it was similar to the youngest of its siblings. The mosquito, now resigned, admitted that it was the weakest in combat, while the youngest had been the third strongest. Back on the battlefield, the soldiers had successfully subdued the white mosquito, cutting off its limbs and leaving it on the ground. They remarked on how the battle had been easier than expected, with one soldier commenting on the mosquito's resilience, wondering if it would survive until they returned to headquarters. Another soldier joked that it would be as resilient as a cockroach. One of them looked down at the defeated mosquito, smirking at the irony of how the tables had turned. He taunted the creature, asking how it felt to be the weaker one now. With venom in his voice, he wished the mosquito would die full of regret in the lab, swearing that their kind would not escape extinction. Just as the soldier spoke, a new royal mosquito approached. Its dark features, 2 horns, red eyes, and sharp teeth sending a chill through the air. The soldiers turned, taken aback by its ominous presence. Back in the interrogation room, the mosquito continued its tale, explaining the exceptional strength of the eldest royal mosquito. It revealed that the eldest had inherited the strongest and most dangerous emotion from their great mother. The mosquito boldly declared that Dr. Kim's power was nothing compared to the eldest's, asserting that his strength paled in comparison. Dr. Kim, his patience snapped, growled for the mosquito to stop being so arrogant. The mosquito, now fully aware of its peril, immediately began to apologize. Its voice panicked as it begged for mercy.